Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was researching a lot about AI in the last days, and in this video I want to share with you how AI could enslave the Ummah. And a lot of people might argue that the Ummah is already kind of enslaved. Why is it? Because we live in a system which was not created by nor created for us. What I mean by that, just look at your phone and all the apps you use on a day-to-day basis. How many of those apps are created from Muslim companies that share our beautiful Islamic values, and how many of those apps are created in Silicon Valley and support things that we actually don't agree with? So a lot of people might argue we are already kind of enslaved, but AI can even increase that to a complete other extent and enslave not only the Ummah but whole humanity. And that's really shocking news and something we all should be aware of, and that's why I want to share this in today's video. So before we can talk about how the Ummah could get enslaved by AI, and the scenario which I will show you or share with you in this video is of course only one of many scenarios that could happen, we need to define what enslavement even means. And my definition here is enslavement is then if humanity or the Ummah has no control anymore to get out of this situation. So there is no freedom of speech anymore, no freedom of action anymore, and basically you can't do anything anymore. You are in full control and you are in full dependency. So you are dependent on something which can tell you how to act, how to behave, what to do, what not to do, and you can't even revolt against it anymore because you don't even have the power to start a revolution or do anything against it anymore. And that's, in my opinion, total enslavement, because then you are really basically just like in the Matrix where you can't do anything anymore and you are fully controlled. And that's of course what we all want to avoid, because come on, who wants to be enslaved? So there are multiple ways how this could happen. AI could become so smart that it develops consciousness and that it basically becomes super intelligent, which is the next step after AGI, and we just created a completely new species which want to control us. But all those different scenarios are still a lot debated, and we are not really sure if they will happen, if we can make AI aligned, which means that AI is really doing what humans want to do or not, and basically how everything will turn out. But one thing that we already know now is that jobs will be replaced by AI. And no matter who you ask in the AI space, they all agree that sooner or later all the jobs will be replaced by AI. Starting with all the jobs where you work something on a computer or laptop, so all the manual tasks where people nowadays sit in an office, review some things, do some accounting, do anything on the computer, this can be easily outsourced and done by AI, because the first thing that AI will replace is the cognitive part of a human. So everything a human can do cognitive inside our head, AI can soon do. And after that will be of course the physical work humans can do. So how it will basically happen is that first AI will automate all the jobs where people work in an office environment right now, on a laptop, on a computer. Then after that, all the different things like logistic or factory work, so robots can easily replace factory workers already nowadays. And after that will of course come all the manual work like plumbing and things like this. So if you are a plumber, you're probably the safest in this AI revolution. So what happens to all these people that now lose their job? Will they just stay at home and be quiet? Or would they storm the White House? Would they try to change the government? Would they try to stop AI and start civil wars? Of course, this would happen, because those people now are scared that they lose everything they ever worked for, that they lose the place where they can live, their house. They cannot pay their rent anymore. They cannot pay for food anymore. And that's why, to avoid this civil wars and this protests or maybe even revolutions, governments around the world will have to pay those people a basic monthly income or a global income for those people, so they don't protest, so they don't feel left behind. And this is what governments will need to do. But where does this money come from that the government will pay the people? And the answer to that question is, well, where could it come from? Who has this money now, which before was paid to the employees? The AI companies. They have this money now, because instead of a normal factory paying all these employees, they now use that money to pay the AI subscriptions, to pay the AI tokens, to pay the robotic companies which deliver the robotics for this factory. So basically those AI companies, they have now all this money. So what the government needs to do in order to have the capital to pay all these people who got laid off, who lost their jobs, is they need to get access to this capital, which the AI companies have now. So what they need to do is they need to either implement some kind of extremely heavy tax for these AI companies, or they need to take over total control of these AI companies. And in my opinion, the second option is way more likely to happen. Why is it? Because in addition to all that stuff that will happen, AI will become more and more dangerous and more powerful. So sooner or later, it will become an issue of national security, which means that sooner or later anyways, governments need to step in. And that's already happening now in the US, where the government, for example, prevented the shipping of a specific model, I think it was from Anthropics, because it was too powerful, too strong, and they were afraid that this will be used from hackers to hack into different systems. So the government will most likely take control over this AI companies. At this time, there will be most likely already one more thing implemented. And this is a huge change, which is that a huge portion of the police force or even the military will be AI. What does it mean? It means humanoids, so human robots in the police force or even the military. It means AI systems in the background that make important decisions or at least advise officials to make those decisions. It means maybe a lot of drones in the police force. And those things are not new. We are seeing them already nowadays in military, where a lot of the death caused every single day are caused by AI, which is already nowadays used in the military. So as soon as AI is smart enough, then we will also soon have these humanoids, these human robots, which can serve, for example, in the police force, or different kinds of looking robots that can serve as a police force and can be controlled from one central source, one central super smart AI. And now imagine you are the government and you are in this situation where all the citizens are basically dependent on you. They don't give you anything anymore which you really need from them. Instead, you just need to pay them money so they don't revolt. And at the same time, you already have this force of AI police, of surveillance, which allows you to control those people, where even if the police would revolt, well, you have the AI and the AI will do the job anyways, because you can just tell the AI to do the job. So now, in this position, as a government, you have one more move which you can make. And this move is that now you finally introduce a digital currency, the thing of which humanity is most afraid. A currency that is linked to your digital ID, and where now you as a government can freeze the account of this currency at any moment in time. So this allows you ultimate power. Why is it? Because you have all the AI surveillance, you see who's doing something wrong, who's doing something which you don't like. With a tip of a finger, you can now freeze this account, this money, and that's how no one can do anything anymore, because if you do something wrong, they don't even need to send you the police, they can just freeze your bank account and you basically will starve to death, because you don't have any means to buy food anymore. You don't have any means to pay for your rent anymore. You are in full control, in full enslavement. And if you think, well, but I'm a company, and let's say some companies, they just don't accept this, they don't want to be part of this digital currency. Well, the thing is this: if the government pays money to the civilians and they decide that they will not pay in US dollar anymore, they will not pay in euro anymore, they will pay you your monthly basic income only in this new digital currency, then you only have this new digital currency to purchase goods and services from companies around you. So will the supermarket company still exist? Probably yes. Will the plumbing company still exist? Probably yes. Will all those other companies like your hairdresser, your barber, and so on still exist? Probably they will still exist. But they are forced to accept this digital currency as well, because that's the only money the customers have, so they need to accept it. So even those different companies are getting soaked into this digital currency if they want or not. So sooner or later, everyone is only using this digital currency, because all this purchasing power which comes from the bottom, because if you look at economics, how those companies can make so much money is because of all the consumers. So the consumers, they fuel, they purchase, they consume, they fuel the whole economy, and this fuel is now this digital currency, which basically the government pays to all these consumers. Then they spend it on different things, like their barber, like the supermarket, and so on, and it flows up in this economy. And if they pay only this digital currency, the whole economy becomes only built by this digital currency, and you can't get out of this system anymore, because there is this AI surveillance, AI police force, and so on. And at the same time, you have your digital ID, your digital passport, which is directly linked to your bank account of this digital currency and can be frozen with one simple click, and there's no alternative. So at this point, it happened. Full control and full enslavement of the Ummah and of whole humanity. So you might ask yourself, well, what can we do? What can we as Muslims do to avoid this enslavement, which seems to be on the horizon anyway? And the answer is, we need to create our own system, our own circular economy, which is independent of the rest of the system, because only then we can decide, do we want to be part of it or not? And to explain you that, what is a circular economy? A circular economy means that you as a Muslim purchase something you need from another Muslim. He purchases what he needs from another Muslim, and this person purchases again from another Muslim. So it's basically a circle where we have everything inside the Ummah, which we need to survive, which we need to be able to afford our housing, our food, everything. And you can't tell me that out of 2 billion Muslims, we don't have the power, we don't have the resources to build such a circular economy. And that's exactly the reason why we started the Digital Islamic Golden Age and Muslim Silicon Valley. Because the Ummah needs a foundation on which we as Muslims can unite, on which we as Muslims can build startups that support our Islamic values, that support all these beautiful values that are pro-humanity and pro-unity instead of for enslavement and exploitation of the humanity. And we believe that the Ummah has enough resources to build a new Islamic golden age. And the beauty of that is we don't need to have a political unity. We can unite on a personal, digital and economical level nowadays, because everyone can join this new Islamic golden age digitally and economically. So if you are, for example, a talented employee, someone that is a good programmer, a good developer, and you can build apps, or you have experience in fintech, in banking, then you can go to digitalislamicgoldenage.com and apply and join a Muslim startup that needs exactly someone like you to help them fulfill their mission. And you can work for a company that really unites the Ummah, that really serves the Ummah and has this Islamic values, instead of working for some empty soul Western company which just exploits people and has nothing to do with our Islamic values. Second, if you are an investor and you already have a good amount of wealth, and we have a lot of wealthy Muslims in the Ummah, then you can invest in startups that serve the Ummah, that really carry those Islamic values, that really unite the Ummah, and you can basically choose which startup you want to support. In which idea do you believe? Do you believe in startup A, B, C, Z? You can decide. And you have a real alternative to investing in the US stock market, a investment which is more or less independent of the rest of the economy and which can give you a lot of return, but at the same time also gives you barakah, because you do something for the Ummah, you do something for our beautiful Islamic community, our Islamic values and our unity. Then if you are a startup founder that has a great idea, that is a visionary, that is a good leader of a team, and you are willing to work hard, and you maybe already built a Islamic startup but you lack capital and you lack talent, you can as well join the Digital Islamic Golden Age as a startup founder with your startup company. You can get funding as well as access to the best Muslim talent worldwide, so you can build your startup super fast with the necessary capital, with the necessary talent. And that's basically how we bring together all the different parts and pieces that are needed to build this Muslim circular economy, where we have companies and startups that serve the Ummah, that carry our values and can create a system which basically gives us freedom and allows us to strive even at times where AI, surveillance and oppression becomes more and more, to keep our freedom as Muslims. So if you support this vision and you want to be part of, check the links in the video description and become part of the Digital Islamic Golden Age. And I would be happy to welcome you on board and see you in one of the next videos. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.